line, or from the radar jam line, because we're actually on turn 2 now.
And you can see that we do have a power jam. A forearms penalty has been picked up by Savage, giving Norfolk the chance to put their first points up.
Filthy Delphia with the entire Battersea wall manages to find that gap on the inside to get out into a scoring pass.
Yeah, the initial has been getting. Here's the scoring pass. Here comes some sweeping offence. Norfolk.
And that was perfectly timed, letting Filthy Delphia through. And that's first points on the boards for Norfolk.
So I can see that Savage is now returning to the track, re-entering behind Norfolk's pivot.
And that was a well-timed hit out and recycle by number 173 from Norfolk.
Yeah, oh, and I can see there's a stray toe stop that just went tumbling off your screen there as well at the front edge. And it's coming rolling back into, is that a wheel? You can see that whoever it is, it's been picked up regardless.
And now all I'm doing is checking toe stops and wheels, and I'm missing the action. It is a wheel, and it is a wheel from a London roller girl, number 237.
That's from Camerat Attack, who's currently one wheel short. But look, still going. There is 10 seconds left of the jam, but Rat Attack's gone. Oh, I don't care.
But then number 17, Vixen Mortar, went, I'm going to take Camerat Attack off the track for her own safety.
I think kudos, though. There was some balancing skills involved. And with that, Norfolk draw their first points, a power jam that definitely works in their favour, taking them to 13.
And just still picking some more bits, I think, up off the track. I mean, that's quite a lot of excitement to happen just in Jam 2.
Exactly, we are very early on. So, Danger Moose for Norfolk, and NSOs and production crew alike can't seem to see who it is for London.
But it is London who have lead jammer, and it's Strahan for Battersea, who's completed the initial pass, makes the scoring pass, hits it and quits it.
Strahan just saw a knife edge to get through that pack and just exploited it.
And the millisecond they passed the hips, the call-off went.
Yeah.
Textbook timing.
Shutting Norfolk out as we go into the fourth jam.
But Norfolk still in the lead, 13 points now, playing 5.
You can see there's Rudy Roo, Cruel Runnings.
I have to say, if they have it on the screen who the jammers are, why are they going to need announcers?
That's
are
true.
Are we being automated?
Exactly. We're going to be like self-service machines in supermarkets one day. There'll just be an AI voice that will bring you all the commentary. But it is Battersea's Rudy Roo that has picked up lead.
But that's a ginormous recycle all the way back to the pivot line.
Some great offense coming in from number 75, Detroit, pushing out.
But we're 50 minutes into this jam before either of the jammers get out to complete that initial pass without being recycled. And it was Norfolk who got out, so London Roller Girls had no choice but to call that jam. They didn't actually get to complete a scoring pass.
No, they didn't, and that was some good work from Norfolk.
Yeah.
There was some great offence coming in from Battersea as well.
But that ginormous recycle just took all the time, and that let the Broads through to force the call off.
So it's all technology now. Gone are the days when we used to have inside whiteboards and whiteboards all over the place. Every bench, the penalty box, the centre of the track, and up here in the production booth, we've all been given wireless screens with the penalty trackers on them. Yeah. Love it.
I remember the days of the outside whiteboard. So we're into this jam. We're 30 seconds in and still don't have a lead. but the Broads are out pushing out the front.
Diarrhea goes to the box for a multiplayer block. Pack advantage now sitting very firmly with Norfolk, and also a power jam in Norfolk's favour with them as lead as well.
Yep. So one of those get lead recycled almost immediately.
Van Hustling picking up a back block penalty.
But London Roller Girls also picking up a cut trap penalty with 2 blockers left on track. That meant that Penny Slane could get through 4-5 points, widening that lead.
Van Hustling is now returning to the track, will re-enter at the back of turn 1, but we're going to see a back block be assessed on the Penny Slane. So jammer switch, full 30 seconds will be served.
Yep. So Van Hustling keeping on their feet on the no, it was a cut track.
So 2 in a single jam, and we're only in the 5th jam of the game. So I can see that Penny Slane is currently sat in the penalty box, now returning to track, so probably somewhere in the regions of about 15 seconds served.
But there's only one Battersea blocker on the track, and so this gives a great opportunity for the Broads to open that lead up.
Yeah, and the full 5 will go into the sky.
And Broads trying to keep back a LRG blocker as a goat, but that jam comes to an end, and that is 10 crucial points for Norfolk. London Roller Girls, I think not surprisingly, calling a timeout.
Yeah, very early on in the game, London perhaps not quite where they would expect to be in the first 8 minutes of the game. As the jam came to an end, a blocker was frozen in the box apiece for each team. You can see there the Battersea's blocker is currently standing.
But I think I'm not surprised that Battersea have called that timeout, because they want that opportunity to reassess, because we are 8 minutes into this game. And 26-5, I know we keep saying normally 2 minutes is a long time in roller derby. At this stage in the game, that's a substantial lead, and you need to really change the momentum and the tactics to close that down before it gets too far away from you.
For 8 minutes, it's quite a low point scoring start, but you're right, and also mentally as well. The symbolism of getting an early lead for a team can really give bench good morale to keep the momentum going.
Yeah. And, you know, they're coming in as the champions of their tier. They would expect to, you know...
Absolutely.
Yeah, they would expect to be winning at this stage. But all credit to the Broads for really showing them that it's not going to be an easy game either way.
So that's Filthy Delphia for Norfolk, going up against Patty Swift for Battersea.
As you said, both teams with just 3 blockers on track.
That was skilled. That was a forced cut on Petty Swift. Norfolk's pivot just sliding back, and fantastically done. And
some great agility and footwork from Filthy Delphia, with just 1 Battersea blocker out. Lead jammer for Norfolk.
Swift goes to the box for her 3rd penalty.
But Norfolk now on scoring pass, just as London Roller Girls Jammer will be returning back to the track in a few seconds. So this is the important bit. How many passes can Norfolk get in before Battersea get their initial pass completed? And that's Patty Swift pushing out front for London Roller Girls. Came into the pack very fast out of the box. Thought we were going to skate around, but Norfolk shut them down.
And you can see that Patty as well, just getting stuck in between. But prior to that, very agile, very nimbly moving between the inside and outside of the track. Completes the initial pass.
And use the confusion of the Norfolk jammer being in front to actually get out. That was some great tactical and situational awareness from Patty Swift there. But Norfolk put 4 points on the board, 30 now playing 5, and nearly 10 minutes gone in this first game.
I can see Wu-Tang Jam up there, the toe stop on the pivot line. Wu-Tang only returning to skating about a week ago, apparently. I was speaking to her before the game.
Norfolk have the blocker advantage on track and providing some offense for Danger Moose, but not able to break up that tripod of black at the front. But lead jammer for Danger Moose. Savage still stuck behind 3 broad blockers still not yet crossed the pivot line. Danger Moose on a scoring pass in the pack behind a full wall of 4 London blockers.
This now the 3rd lead in a row for Norfolk, shutting out London of scoring any points since the 3rd jam.
And haven't yet crossed the pivot line, no. London jammer. So this is a tough jam for Savage, who's just tapped out to the inside.
Yeah, all the action happening within the between the jam and the pivot line for the entirety.
But crucially, Norfolk nickel and diming these last few jams. 2 points in this last jam, taking them to 32. So on the radar jam line, we have 2 blockers lining up, and I can't tell who they are.
No, I cannot see for the life of me. No. We'll have to wait until the whistles go. The NSOs have a much better view, so you can see that that's Vixen Mortar. And, oh look, buried in the pack. All I can see is Star. I can barely see face, Strahan.
Yeah. But London using excellent bridging to hold back Vixen Mortar as long as possible, but couldn't stop her being a lead jammer.
You see, again, yeah. Norfolk keep stretching back a deep recycle at every opportunity they can.
And at the same time, pushing London out the front.
Yeah.
So they're really using the whole track to their benefit, to hold back London and to get their jammer through.
And they're not scared of using that accordion effect either to recycle and reform. They've got that practice down. And look at the smoothness of the star pass from Strahan over to Swift. Casual.
Oh, that was a thing of smooth beauty.
It was, but it was just so casually done. Just like, oh, here, do you want to start? Yeah, cheers. Off I go.
9 points for Norfolk, taking them to 41 points now, 36 points ahead of London Roller Girls. 17.5 minutes left to go. London Roller, and this is also a game of penalties. I mean, London Roller Girls with significantly more penalties, 14 compared to Norfolk's 3, and that's a story. That's telling the story of this game.
And we've seen it a few times already where they've got 3 penalties, 4 penalties picked up in a single jam.
And that's a proper scrum at the radar jam line.
Densely populated pack that's not. Look at the skill that was from Diarrhea. Just absolutely pushed Danger Moose to the floor.
Huge impact, small movement.
And a little hop over the inside of turn 1 gets through to pick up lead for Norfolk. Rudy Roots, by the way, just absolutely pushing as hard as she can. Norfolk keep trying to force a cut as well. The skill of just every opportunity, can we force one here?
I think what's impressed me so far this game is just the tactics and situational awareness of Norfolk has been absolutely spot on. But it is London Roller Girls who complete that initial pass. And Danger Moose sees the danger and calls that jam, but picks up more points. I mean, this is a very low scoring game because it's usually only 1, maybe 2 scoring passes that the teams are able to get away with. 45 points in 15 minutes when you've had lead almost every time. That's showing how good the London defense is.
Yeah, so London have picked up lead thrice. And Norfolk are on a bit of a streak at the moment with 5 in a row.
So Van hustling on the radar jam line against Penny Slane on this roller Derby City track.
Van hustling again recycled by Norfolk, leaves it open for Penny Slane to pick up lead.
who's now approaching the pack on a scoring pass, as Van Hustling is still only just past that radar jam line. But Penny Slane now facing some strong defense, gets some offense from her team, sees the danger from Van Hustling, calls the jam, but still picks up those 4 important points.
And I can see that just at the end of the jam, Vixen Mortar goes to the penalty box, pivot for Norfolk to think about what she's done.
So much as this is a properly thrilling game, don't forget the other track sponsored by Just One Body, and they've got Dorset versus North Wales on at the moment.
I have. Actually, I went to see Just One Body earlier on for a bit of osteo treatment, and incredibly knowledgeable, incredibly skilled, and incredibly informative. Highly recommended.
So London haven't scored in the last 7 jams. This has definitely been Norfolk's first half.
Norfolk tight and together as they go on to turn 3. Last line of defence doesn't quite work. Pack is being stretched out, and London pick up their first lead in 6. And it's 7 with no score, and their first lead in 6 jams.
And complete that scoring pass with no problem at all. And after we've been talking about such strong defence, I think both teams are a bit unsettled in this jam and not able to reform in time for defence.
Demolition goes to the box for a cut track, the second cut track for her this game.
But both teams now on a scoring pass. London Roller Girls content to let this run.
Taking a risk, putting some faith in their fellow teammates. Also, they do have power jam for Norfolk, so they're probably...
Yes.
Yeah.
So
oh, yes.
the little red star has gone.
It went with 42 seconds left on the jam.
Yeah. And that's not what London would have wanted at this stage.
No, it was a back block as well.
Yeah. So Danger Moose completing, I think that's the 4th scoring pass for Norfolk. But Patty Swift is out of the box and back on track, completing that initial pass.
Second score, 8 points now picked up by London.
Yep.
Comes through on what I think is the 3rd scoring pass. Yep. But Norfolk just about to break the 19 points picked up in the jam. 3 more going on to take them to 22.
By far the highest scoring jam in this game. You know,
and a palindromic score as well.
17 for London Roller Girls, 71 for Norfolk Roller Derby. 12 points for LRG in that jam, 22 points for Norfolk. I mean, you know, we've seen a lot today in tight games. You know, when you talk about penalty kills where you can't maximise on a power jam, Norfolk just showed you how to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, considering that was London picking up lead for the first time in 6 jams, they ended up giving away the highest amount of points. It was much at their detriment. So Norfolk's
Filthy Delphia
picks up lead and calls it off.
Yep. I am loving how much glitter is on Battersea Power. I'm a little bit jealous.
I saw them warming up outside of Fenton Manor here in Stoke, and I think it was just a case of kind of throwing glitter at each other whilst doing a very professional sports warm-up, but then just with added glitter for good measure.
Yeah.
So 0 points picked up by either side, a pointless jam.
It's Danny Hell. First time we've seen Danny Hell jam for Norfolk up against Van Hustling for London Roller Girls Battersea Power. And it's Van Hustling who has picked up a forearms penalty.
And, well, actually, it's forearms on both sides. Both jammers picked up forearms. It's Norfolk's Danny Hell that gets bum sat on seat quickest. So his first back on track, closely followed by Van Hustling.
Yeah. But Danny Hell completes their initial pass.
And Hustling chases around the outside, puts a bit of speed behind Norfolk.
Oh!
Look at the control
Oh.
of the footwork on the
Yeah.
outside.
And that's a lot of planks and sit-ups for that kind of core stability to let you do that.
I would have flopped all over the place.
So Van Hustling on scoring pass, both jammers on scoring passes, but it is Norfolk who have the blocker advantage, and that shows as Danny Hell completes for 4 points, 5 points even.
Yeah, the full Grand Slam.
Yep.
London have Pivot currently sat in the penalty box, who stands.
But Van Hustling still stuck behind that wall of red as Danny Hell completes another scoring pass. So that's 14 points now for Norfolk in this jam.
Van Hustling is having an incredibly difficult time. Some offense comes in from Wu-Tang Jam.
And frees out Van Hustling, who does complete that scoring pass.
Yeah, nearly a full minute being held back by Norfolk before completing the scoring pass.
That's not just tiring, that's a little bit soul-destroying.
It is. But another 3 picked up by Norfolk at the end of the jam takes them to 17. Total 88, playing 21. A massive thank you to our sponsors, Royal Derby City, Just One Body, our track sponsors, to Double Threat Skates and Radar, as well as our partners, Capital Badges, Events Medical Services and Ruby Fury, which you can get 10% off your first order if you click through via the British Champs websites.
Vixen Morton jamming for Norfolk, and it's Strahan for Battersea. And it is Vixen Mortar who is lead jam. Oh, no.
Strahan, that's picked up lead, gets caught back up by Norfolk's blockers, giving just a tiny bit more of a head start to Vixen Mortar, who completes the initial. But here they come together.
And that forces the call off, so no points for either side. I mean, this is still only 67 points in the game. And you know, we've still got a whole second half to go. And I think whoever comes out on fire after that half-time talk has a real chance of taking the game.
Yeah, and then on the leads front, as we go into Jam 15, we've seen London with 5 leads, Norfolk with 8.
So I think the challenge for London is they haven't been able to capitalise on those leads. So I think that's something they'll want to talk about at half-time.
Yeah, and we've only seen a couple of star passes as well. You know, throughout London did that great star pass in the 10th jam. But it is Danger Moose for Norfolk as lead. Empty penalty box, a full 80 wheels making contact with the track.
And London Roller Girls looking for taking the helmet cover off, but had a real difficulty. It was stuck to the helmet, but that is now a power jam for LRG.
Yeah.
And they make the most of that, completing their initial pass. And, sorry, completing the scoring pass.
Danger Moose picked up a cut track penalty, her first penalty of the game.
But that's a big hit out to the outside from Rudy Roo. And a recycle, just sucking up those precious seconds during a power jam. And it's that wall of red up front. I think that there'll be a number of LRG blockers, jammers who will just have nightmares about that over the next few days.
And you can see that attempted cut being called. Actually, so London trying to do a bit of a Norfolk and trying to force cuts quite quickly. Doesn't quite work. Danger Moose returns to track. Inbounds illegal.
But Rudy Roo has pushed their way past those Norfolk blockers, completed a scoring pass and is back in the pack. Just as Norfolk also do the same. And this is just grinding for the jammers.
Yeah, full
this is
2
just
minute
such
jam,
hard work.
3 seconds left, about to come to an end.
Yeah.
And there was another scoring pass for London, so power jam works in their favour.
But I think this is the first jam in this game where London have scored more than Norfolk.
It's actually their highest point scoring jam of the game.
Yeah. And this is what you want to go into these last few minutes before halftime, is that switch in momentum, taking back a bit of control on the game, closing that gap down, gives you something to really fight for in the second half. So Strahan on the radar jam line against Filthy Delphia for the Norfolk Broads. And it is Filthy Delphia, lead jammer for Norfolk.
Strahan totally distracted by, I was just watching Strahan removing the cover and then getting recycled back.
So Filthy Delphia in the pack for a scoring pass. Strahan also on the scoring pass. So both jammers going to pick up points in this jam.
And the pack so stretched out by right now that it almost couldn't see everything on the screen.
But Strahan hasn't got the helmet cover on their helmet.
No, Strahan currently has it held firmly in hand.
But that means that all of this effort will go for no points.
And there we go.
Yeah.
And another seamless star pass from Strahan to Swift, forcing Norfolk into the call-off.
Yeah.
That pack was stretched out 90 feet.
Yes.
And it was so big, it was all the way from more or less the middle to start of turn one, going out on its way to turn 3.
But you'd expect to see that kind of track awareness with teams at this level, with this level of experience and coaching. They probably could drill 10 feet in their sleep. So Van Hustling on the radar jam line against Penny Slane. As Penny pushing out up front. And Van Hustling stuck at the back of the pack. Both jammers having to push hard.
Yeah, not much movement, looking very static at the moment. You can see that Penny Slane is trying to cause some chaos in amongst the London blockers, does and picks up lead. Nice quick initial from Van Hustling as well. Maybe only giving away one scoring pass, and there it is.
Yep. Penny Slane saw that coming, went, nope.
But denied.
And with the gap the size of it is at the moment, and with 2.5 minutes, you don't need to play jams long if you're 70 points, 65 points in the lead.
Keep them short, shut them out.
Yeah.
And that 4 points at the end by Norfolk takes them over the century mark.
So we're underway again. And just such a tight defensive pack. For a while it was difficult to work out who was jamming, but it is Rudy Roo for Battersea up against Vixen Mortar. And
Vixen Mortar is stuck well and truly at the back of the pack. A cut track has been issued to Rudy, so we're going to see a power jam. The lead is still open. It's given with 35 seconds of the jam gone.
Yep. But both teams have got full packs on track. Wow, that was a huge hit on Vixen Mortar, who took some time to get their balance back.
Rudy now standing in the penalty box.
But some great one-on-one offense from Norfolk, taking apart the LRG blockers so that they can't form a wall together.
You see the pack come to a complete standstill as Rudy returns to track. Rudy is yet to successfully complete the initial pass. A back block has been assessed on Rudy, on Vixen. Yeah. So we can see Vixen sat down with about 36 seconds left on the clock.
And that's allowed Rudy Roo to, I was going to say pick up some points, but no, unfortunately picked up a cutting penalty.
Yeah, so she's off to the box. We're going to see Vixen Mortar return to the track. And London going, we're still going to recycle you. We're going to make you work as you come back on. We're not going to let you just skate out of the penalty box. And as the jam comes to an end, just in enough time to get another scoring pass and pick up another 3, take them to 8, and London collecting 2.
I think there was some confusion about the end of that jam.
There was, and actually you could see that Battersea, one of Battersea's players, Pivot, looked to the ref to say, I got confused.
Yeah, and I think everybody got a bit confused. Is this half-time, is it not? It is now half-time.
To give you some context, both the tracks, the Just One Body track and the Roller Derby City track, are side by side, separated by about 70 foot. With the audience in the middle of the two of them. We are using 2 different tones of whistles, but to the untrained ear, just occasionally causing a moment of confusion.
Yeah. Yeah, but we have completed that first half. What a first half!
Absolutely, and I think we will let you digest its contents and see you back here in 14 minutes.
I've been Dork Mistress. I'm with the lovely Brom and the even lovelier Very Cherry. And welcome back to Game 8 of the British Championship playoffs in sunny Stoke-on-Trent. I'm Dork Mistress.
I'm Brom, and we're joined by the lovely Very Cherry, who's not allowed to say any words, so be quiet.
So we're halfway through London Battersea Power versus Norfolk Broads, playing for a place in the Tier 2 WFTDA side final.
And whoever wins this game is guaranteed a promotion to Division 1.
Yes.
It's very exciting stuff. So let's take a look at the penalties, because the first 10 minutes of this game saw London Roller Girls Battersea Power come into a little bit of trouble. So they cleaned it up for the last 15 minutes. But you can see there 23 penalties for London versus the 11 for Norfolk. And actually a couple of people that probably want... Diarrhea has been phenomenal when on track, but hasn't been playing completely cleanly.
But one of the things we've seen is the Norfolk Broads' ability to force a cut penalty on London Roller Girls, and you can see that in the penalties here with
Rudy Roo, Demolition, Patty Swift as well. Yeah,
picking up two sort of cut track penalties each. That's great work from Norfolk, who have absolutely taken this first half by storm.
Yeah, and actually, so we saw that in the first half, Norfolk got 9 leads versus London 6, and Norfolk stonking 22-point jam was their highest of the first half, while London just over half of that with 12. So
we're restarting Norfolk Roller Derby on 109 points, Battersea on 38. And as a reminder, London Roller Girls coming into this as the winner of their tier during the 6 months of championship games, and Norfolk coming in as number 2 from their tier, but really bringing it on track today. Filthy Delphia, lead jammer for Norfolk.
Yeah, and you can see that power jam start and also pack advantage sitting with London with Norfolk worked in their favour.
Rudy Roo jamming for LRG. Filthy Delphia watching where Rudy Roo is. I think trying to count down the clock. Calls the jam, hits it, and very much quits it. 8 points for Norfolk in that jam.
And after all of that penalty talk, you can see the full 80 wheels on the track.
And a bit of a tussle over backline positioning. Everybody wants to be right next to that radar jam line.
And yet you see Norfolk's approach, they're not that connected. They're quite split in amongst that London kind of deluge of pink and black. It's worked in their favour though, although right on the heels of Van Hustling, Penny Slane is mere millimetres behind, with a multiplayer block being assessed on Norfolk's Danny Hell.
I think both packs of blockers content to speed up the pack to try and get the points.
Yeah, did anyone pick up a point there? A single point. And do you know what? We've seen we've seen almost a simultaneous version of how the game started.
Yeah.
London started by getting lead and
Yeah.
picking up a single point.
Yeah, but they picked up 2.
Ah,
it was
there we go. There's
sneaky.
the second point.
It was sneaky jammer ref fingers there. So 40 now playing 117. And it's Strahan for Battersea Power against Vixen Mortar for the Broads. And London covering the entire width of that track to hold back Vixen Mortar with just 2 blockers, whereas Norfolk much more static, able to hold the jammer back more stationary.
Yeah, and you can see Norfolk have their pivot in the box at the moment, who's just being released. Both teams going to full strength. Volosofi putting in a great hit on London's pivot. And the whole thing, let's call the whole thing off.
Norfolk settling for just the 1 point. You know, we talked about in the first half, when you have this size of gap, you don't need to be putting multiple passes on. You just want to make sure that your other team can't score anything.
Yeah, I think Norfolk would be happy going through 1 point at jam all the way to the end now.
Yeah.
You can see off the line, Wu-Tang Jam immediately putting in a shoulder on Danny Hell. Goes back to try and provide some offense. At Norfolk pick up lead, Danger Moose.
I love that name.
Yeah.
I just have this urge to do the Danger Mouse theme every time I talk about them. But we have both jammers out of the pack.
A back block is given to, is that Dodge or Danny or Diarrhea?
Oh.
Because they're both going, you can see the MC official is going over to London's bench.
Yeah.
Someone is going for a back block.
Yep. And
it looks like it's Diarrhea. Yep.
Yep.
It is. So pack advantage will very much sit with Norfolk, as they had 2 blockers sat in the box.
Yep. So Penny Slane from the radar jam line for Norfolk up against Van Hustling. Van Hustling hit out and recycled. Penny Slane picking up lead.
Van Hustling trying the outside, moves across quickly to inside, pushed out, taken down and recycled deep by Norfolk. And we're going to see that quick reforming from Norfolk. Some offense comes in straight from the penalty box. Tussle to the floor.
And Penny Slane says, nah, I had enough of that, calls the jam, still picks up 9 points, and London Roller Girls unable to put any more points on the board. So the first 5 minutes in the second half, it's felt very much like the first half.
Yep, I think we're seeing something very similar right now.
Yep. I was kind of hoping for somebody to come out on fire. I always think it's exciting.
The second half comeback, and there's still time.
Yep.
But as Norfolk get ever closer to stretching out the 100-point differential, with the clock ticking down, the odds will not work in their favour.
No.
But a cacophony on the track leads to gaps being opened, and Danger Moose creates a space she needs to pick up lead.
That was an absolutely stunning block by Polly Hedrell as offense. When you just go, when I grow up, I want to do offense like that.
Can I do that, please? How do you do that? and actually demonstrating one of the reasons why, as we go into the next jam, we've seen 5 leads for Norfolk and just the 1 lead for London.
Norfolk picking up 1 point in that last jam. As we said, happy to nickel and dime it.
I don't think we've seen anything more than 2 points scored by either side for the last 3 jams, have we?
No. So Rudy Roo up against Philadelphia from the radar jam line on this roller Derby City track.
Swift up front, holding the line, but last line of defence still working, and Rudy Roo gets lead for London the first time in 5 jams.
But Filthy Delphia completes their initial pass. Ooh. Big hit from number 173, Cruel Runnings.
Yeah, Cruel Runnings, and actually Cruel Runnings calling off the jam from the floor, but takes a few extra seconds to recover. But she returns to her skates and to the bench of her own accord, and the medics was just going over to see if those few additional seconds need seeing to.
But Battersea picking up the points from that jam, 2 points, taking them to 42. So we have Van Hustling from the Radar jam line up against, I can't see, but it's Norfolk. It's Norfolk who have lead.
Penny Slane again, and Van Hustling sails round the inside line to complete the initial.
Van Hustling, Penny Slane goes for the 4 points and calls that jam. So we're seeing very quick jams. I mean, we're on jam number 8 and we're still only 8 minutes into the game.
A jam a minute all the way through.
Yeah. When you think there's the 30 seconds reset time, that's a jam every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I think Norfolk just happy to play the tactics, play the strategy, and have managed to really squeeze down London Roller Girls in these first few jams, stopping them, denying them from points.
And you can see straight off the line, Norfolk putting together a 3-wall with the offence on the line. Same approach from London. They're matching each other quite like for like with their tactics. Strahan completes the scoring pass as lead. Vixen Mortar sat in the penalty box. So the power jam that London have been much looking forward to as the second scoring pass is completed. They lose their pivot though. Vixen Mortar is about to return to the track. Ooh.
Oh.
And that was, do you know what that was? Just because 237 didn't move.
No.
Rat Attack
No.
was just so solid that as she came in on Rat Attack, it was just an instant rebound into the floor. We're seeing her forearms being assessed.
Oh, but did you see that star pass?
Oh, incredibly slick.
Well, you know, you want to go back and replay that because that was absolutely beautiful and just like so quick. And London Roller Girls picking up 17 points in that last jam, taking them to 59 points. That's probably the highest scoring jam of the game.
Yeah, absolutely is.
So
by a comfortable margin as well.
So really good to see them starting to get some momentum and try and swing the points differential around their way.
So that's savaging into the back of the Norfolk wall. Danger Moose being nimble on toe stops, trying to find those gaps.
Wherever there is danger, she is there.
She's just right in the face of it all.
Savage now pushing out front. Just one broad to go. Lead jammer for London Roller Girls. And this is starting to feel like a shift in momentum in this game.
Yeah, are we going to see the great comeback from Battersea Power, champions in their division?
Yeah. Danger Moose also completing their initial pass. So both jammers now scoring points. Oh, and look at that from Savage. He'll be thrilled to get those wheels down. That counted. That counted as an apex jump. And 5 points for London Roller Girls. Second jam in a row that they've picked up points and denied the broad.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. So that's now
This is, yeah.
21 points picked up in the last 2 jams. A third of their points in the last 2 minutes.
Yep. Van Hustling out lead jammer for London Roller Girls again.
3 in a row now, and all at the same time we're seeing a power jam high block.
I realised I was doing quite indistinct hand gestures at that point. But Van Hustling on that scoring pass, making the most of this power jam, but is hit out and recycled by the Broads nearly half the track. Actually now half the track. This is a huge recycle and a way to eat up those 30 seconds.
And look at that 173 just cruel runnings, planting the shoulder. So we're going to see a failure to reform, a blocking out of play penalty given at the same time to Norfolk's cruel runnings, who had done such a wonderful couple of hits only a few seconds earlier.
But it ate up so much of that penalty time.
It did.
And that meant that London Roller Girls only scored 3 points on that power jam. But it is that third jam in a row they've scored, the Broads haven't. So we are starting to see the game shift into Battersea Power's way. Rudy Roo on the radar jam line up against Danger Moose for the Broads.
And if London carry on like this, London have nearly doubled their score from the half-time, whereas Norfolk have only picked up 30 points.
Yeah.
And I know that's the same on both sides, but when you're looking at what that does to the differential, that makes quite a lot of difference.
Battersea definitely picking up that momentum and control of the game, but that was a big hit out. We are 30 seconds into this jam. We haven't really gone past the radar jam line. We don't have a lead jammer. The defense is absolutely solid from both teams.
Danger, Rudy Roo being recycled back.
Was looking for the whip off number 41, Demolition, but couldn't get it. Rudy Roo looks as though she's not having the best jam.
And there it is, the offense from cruel running, sweeping into the London wall. Creates a space for Danger Moose to pick up lead.
Rudy Roo still stuck behind the wall of red on her initial pass, having to push for every centimetre. This is so tiring for jammers to have to do this.
That.
I mean, just imagine pushing 3 people or 2 people out ahead of you and then trying to sprint afterwards.
And a multiplayer block being given to one of Norfolk's blockers, fortunately for London, because it gives them the chance to finally get out and complete initial.
But that was great work from the London Roller Girls blockers to hold back Norfolk to only 2 points in that. I mean, if you think that jam went for nearly the whole length and it was still not even a complete scoring pass.
And a timeout's being called by London. Probably a chance for them to go, we've pulled it together a bit more in this half, but if we are going to win this, if we're going to be champions and continue to be champions of this tier, then we need to pull some more out.
Yeah. What are they going to do to get that 60, 70 points that they need on top of, on top of what Norfolk have got at the moment to make that difference?
And London have started to clean themselves up on the penalties as well. They've had a much calmer quarter. They came into... They came out of the first period with 23 penalties, and I don't think they've moved far from that since.
And just a reminder that the winner of this game goes into Game 16, the Tier 2 final on the Roller Derby City track at 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. And the loser will face Windsor at 11:30, also on this Roller Derby City track, for the 3rd, 4th place playoff. And it's the final. They'll be going in against Rebellion Roller Derby, who had a very definitive win over Royal Windsor just before this.
So overall, this period, London Roller Girls have picked up 5 penalties. So they've played it a lot cleaner. And Norfolk have picked up 7 so far in the period. Strahan
straight out as lead jammer for London Roller Girls. Filthy Delphia hit out and recycled. So Strahan now scoring points and gets through with ease. It's all about having just 2 blockers on track. Makes it so difficult to hold the jammer back.
Pivot's not around, you know. Philadelphia has no assistance right now. Pivot's now released from the block. Is Philadelphia going to look for assistance from her? And Jojo Ubiri.
And London holding back Philadelphia to avoid that star pass, not just in defense, they were separating out the pivot and the jammer.
Yeah, working incredibly hard. Look at the way the pack's being stretched out. Every last foot is being given.
But that's a second complete scoring pass from London Roller Girls.
And look, you can see the pivot is looking back to Philadelphia going, do you need me? I'm here, I'm ready.
Yeah. But it's hit out and recycled, and we were just at the wrong angle, but it looked like they may have achieved star pass.
Yeah, and I think it's deliberately there to try and create some confusion. And look, the opportunity was lost. It was nearly so seamless, but London have spotted it, clocked it, and recycled it.
And also able Swift to give some offense for Strahan. Because as this is going on with that star pass, Strahan is through for looking to complete a 4th scoring pass. Again, highest scoring jam of this game for London Roller Girls. Oh, and it's a cut track penalty just at the end of that jam for Strahan.
It was all going so well.
Because we are now looking at a 54-point game.
And they are closing it.
They are closing
18 points picked up there.
And there's an official review which has been called by London Roller Girls. So while we're in that official review, got a chance to talk about why you need to come back first thing tomorrow morning. So 9 o'clock we kick off action here in Stoke. It is the Tier 3 WFTDA side semi-final. Hull will be playing Nottingham for a place in the final. And at 9:30 on the Roller Derby City track, Cambridge will be playing Wiltshire also for a place in that final. Yeah,
the winners of each of those games both guaranteed, firstly, to be promoted into Tier 2.
Yep.
But then also there'll be a 3rd, 4th place playoff game for that as well.
And there's also a shiny trophy.
There's a shiny trophy, and those final 3 games tomorrow will see BBC Sports broadcast for the first time British champs and the first men's game of roller derby on the BBC.
That is amazing news, and just shows that after the World Cup in Manchester, the demand and the amount of people that watch roller derby at home. I will be there at home tomorrow. Sadly, I'm not here.
Feet up, but you'll have the pleasure of being able to watch it from the comfort of your home.
I believe I'll be able to hear you as well, won't I, Bro?
I will be around. But the brilliant Derby Duck Promotions productions are bringing you this live feed this weekend. We are big fans.
And it's really exciting news for roller derby as a sport that our national championships are going to be available on the BBC.
And London have scored in the last 15 minutes the same amount of points as they scored in the whole first period. So London Roller Girls were looking for that cut that was called on Strahan at the end to be overturned. They were
not successful,
and they do not retain their official review.
Strahan only just coming back on track now. And so it is Norfolk who have lead and are on a 2nd scoring pass.
Everyone's currently on the track. The pack gets stretched out, allowing another scoring pass for Penny Slane. Just as London lose blocker to the box. It's Strahan going back to the box, but Strahan has the star held in hand.
Yep. Those pesky jammers trying to confuse us. It was a forearms penalty that Strahan just picked up. It's unfortunate, 2 penalties in the last 2 jams.
And just as the jams called off as well, strategically, Norfolk calling it, going in for a power jam start, and with the pack advantage in their favour. And I think that's because Norfolk have probably realised, hang on, in the last 6-7 jams, they had scored 0, 2 points, 0, 0, 0, 5, 0, 1.
Yeah.
So they've really not moved a lot.
No, and I think Norfolk will be very aware of just how many points there are between the two teams. Vixen Mortar, from the radar jam line, no real opposition because Norfolk can tend to split that London Roller Girls wall up. And lead jammer for Vixen Mortar now in the pack on a scoring pass just as Strahan has released from the box and returns to the track. Vixen Mortar completes for 4 points.
So all of London Roller Girls Battersea Power have now returned to the track.
And
we've seen a star pass as well, so Swift has the star currently held in hand. Now successfully wearing it on track on the turn 2.
But this is the third scoring pass for Norfolk and for Vixen Mortar.
Yeah, they want to go into this last 10 minutes a little bit more comfortably than it had been going. But look, just sailing around. Vixen Mortar still scoring the points for Norfolk. Has a bit of speed taken off of her. She's knocked to the outside of turn 2.
But that's a multiplayer block for a Battersea blocker. Number 934 picking up Sirius Whack, picking up the multiplayer block penalty at the end of that jam. But another big jam for Norfolk, 17 in that points in that last jam. And we talked about that shift in momentum and control from Norfolk to London Roller Girls. Starting to feel that maybe Norfolk is re-establishing their control on this game.
Yeah, fantastic 17-pointer. That is Norfolk's highest point scoring jam of the period.
But that blocker advantage didn't pay off for Norfolk as Van Hustling had an open inside line to pick up lead.
Has to take a knee, and as Penny Slane comes in at a ferocious amount of speed, London calling it off, and I believe a pointless jam.
Yeah. So we having a quick
official review.
Official review being called by Norfolk.
Well, they thought, London have had a go, so it's our turn.
Yeah.
So we'll bring you the update on the official review. It gives us a great opportunity to once again say a massive thank you to our sponsors, to Roller Derby City, our track sponsor, and to Just One Body, our track sponsor on the other side, on the other channel, Double Threat Skates, and to Radar, who are sponsoring our most valuable player, and our jam lines this weekend, and to partners, Capital Badges, Events Medical Services, and Ruby Fury.
And if this isn't enough London Roller Girls for you, next week the A-Team, London Brawling, will be competing in the WFTDA playoffs in Atlanta, Georgia.
Exciting stuff. And I understand that you might be there.
I am very much looking forward to being there doing broadcast for
when are you going to, when do you fly out to Atlanta?
4 a.m. on Wednesday morning.
Ooh, lovely.
The things we do for this sport, but I'm very thrilled and looking forward to that experience. London and Bear City are both there from Europe. And you can get passes to watch all of the action on WFTDA.com.
TV.
.tv,
yeah. I only know because I've come straight from Spain. How many times did we say the link?
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of the teams who are here, who were in British Championships in 2014 and top tiers, have moved into WFTDA play. So Championships is very much a training ground.
Absolutely. And we were talking only yesterday, as one does over a beer, saying, you know, that Division 1 is a fantastic... Division 1 of British Championships is a great breeding ground, a practice
A
ground,
springboard.
a springboard into both the MRDA Championships and the WFTDA Championships as well.
Because MRDA Championships is coming up in October, and I believe Very Cherry is going to be flying the flag for Europe.
Yes.
And we have a record number of European teams that have qualified.
It's a great amount of talent. It's a very proud moment for the sport.
Yeah. And I think the British Championships has had a fundamental role in that, because previous to championships, it was you played people who you knew or who might be like either near you or near you in ranking. This structure and this development and this sort of making sure you're playing people at the same level has had such an impact on the sport in the UK.
And a very recent development as well. 2015 was the official formation of British Championships as we know it today. And this year we've seen 78 teams enter. Very Cherry just looking at me going, but who's the best? Well, I mean, that that's very much dependent on the outcome of this weekend.
Very Cherry, obviously promoting Central City Roller Derby's win. So Tier 1 teams do not come to playoffs.
No.
It's just sort of at the end of the games, who's the winner? Because there isn't a promotion up. We have playoffs here for Tier 2 and 3 because we need to decide who's going to get promoted.
And because there's so many teams as well, we need to make sure that everyone gets a good amount of games under their belt. So we'll bring you the update on the official review as soon as we have it. But yeah, 74 teams entered this year, with more than 200 games played across the British Championship season, which started back in February.
Yep. It's the largest roller derby tournament in the world.
It is.
All here in the lovely United Kingdom, and it is Philadelphia for Norfolk who picks up lead jammer, but London Roller Girls with a blocker sent to the bin for a contact penalty.
Yep. Savage having quite a hard time. Norfolk not giving up any space coming onto turn 2.
And with the distinct blocker advantage of 4-2 pack advantage. Philadelphia making short work, getting that inside line and completing the scoring pass. Savage still stuck behind that wall of red, hit out to the inside and recycled.
So I've just been filled in on the official review. So Norfolk observed that there were too many London players on the track when the jam began. There were 3 on the track, 2 in the box, and because London got lead, captain has served a penalty in the box. So Norfolk retain their official review.
Yeah, easily done, easily done. So where we are now, Savage trying to pass the star at the end of that jam, because not completing their initial pass. However, Norfolk picked up 20 points in that last jam, taking them out to 190 points. They're now 105 points ahead of Battersea Power.
And London were within 52 points of that at one point, and Norfolk have just in the last few jams come back and scored their highest point scoring jam of the game.
Yeah. So Van hustling from the radar jam line, and it's Penny Slane for the Broads. The
first time in 5 jams that London have picked up lead.
Penny Slane pushing up against the 2 Battersea Powers blockers at front, just as Van Hustling hits the back of the pack to score points.
So Norfolk have got initial, coming for a scoring pass, and look at the speed and the complete smoothness that Penny Slane just came trawling through the pack.
And Van Hustling had lead at that point, could have avoided that by calling the jam, but LRG decided to play that long.
There was a little bit of confusion there. Did you see that? There was a hesitation from all involved.
Yes, I think it was one of those whistling incidences that some people thought that jam had completed.
That wasn't the only thing though, because looking at it, what the scoreboard all of a sudden displayed that there had
Yeah.
been a star pass to Wu-Tang Jam. Wu-Tang Jam was not wearing the star, was still very much pivot.
Yeah.
But where was London's jammer? London's jammer was in the last 10 seconds of that jam was not in the box
No.
or anywhere to be seen on track.
Because I think they think the jam had ended.
So do you think the London jammer took herself off to the bench
That's my
mid-jam?
suspicion. That's my suspicion, because I thought the jam had ended.
But she was in control of the jam. She was
Yeah.
lead.
Oh, well, the officials have been debating what happened, and they are in a better position than we are, so this is just our supposition.
Yeah, and it looks like I'm hoping the alt ref will go visit our colleagues, who will then message up what the confusion was. Maybe, I'm not too sure. I mean, either way, we have just over 5.5 minutes left of the last game of the first day of British Champs here in now sun-setting Stoke.
Yes.
And
Although, why we keep talking about the weather when we're in when we spend entire weekends in
in the
leisure
sports halls,
centres,
getting that wonderful UV tan,
that vitamin D
fluorescent.
deficiency.
It's not quite Acarunia, is it? Very cherry. We were just listening out to see if we could understand, but there was an official timeout, and just having a look, the penalty box, there's been no change. There are still 2 London blockers.
Jam 18 is still progressing. Just having a look at the clock there, which is...
Yeah, well, either way, we are underway, and both teams have fielded jammers, both are on the track.
We're back on with roller derby.
Everything's happening. Obviously, some confusion with the calling off of that jam. And look at that last line of defence work from Norfolk's Vixen Mortar as pivot, who also then picked up a penalty for it as well.
I suspect that was a low block.
That was a cut track.
That was a cut track. Either way, she did a naughty.
And she'll be cooling down for 30 seconds.
Yeah. So it's London Roller Girls with the lead jammer, able to cool off that jam. Neither team picking up points, so we're staying 189, plays 196. Less than 5 minutes to go in this game.
We haven't really seen pointless jams. There have been...
I
think that might have been the second one.
Yeah.
On the whole, everyone has walked away with a point at least under their belt on either side. And so, Danger Moose and Van Hustling, a matchup we've seen a few times this game.
Danger Moose able to act as an extra blocker, trying to stop Van Hustling. But both jammers now facing full walls of 4 up front. Van Hustling hit out and recycled. And it's now Norfolk who are getting the offense in to get their jammer out.
Yeah, Danger Moose pushing the front off the pack. Comes up to the start of turn 2. London being unrelenting with their approach to how they're trying to hold on to Danger Moose.
But this is why it's worth having that extra blocker on track. You can keep the pack, do the offense, give your jammer the best chance while holding Van Hustling back on turn 2.
Really nice track awareness from Norfolk's blocker that was coming in to do some offense. As soon as the 2 parts of the pack, the front and back of the pack, got close enough to meet, she went straight in for a bit of offense and created the space that Danger Moose needed to get through.
I think London Roller Girls there were taken apart by the Norfolk blockers. Only 2 blockers on track, and it meant they didn't even notice Danger Moose coming around, getting the 4 points and calling that jam, taking them to 200 points exactly. 3 minutes left to go. Penny Slane on the radar jam line up against Savage for Battersea.
And those last 4 points picked up by Norfolk see them cross over the double century mark.
So Penny Slane, lead jammer for Norfolk. And it's that blocker advantage which is telling. Having 2 blockers in the box at this point is really difficult for Battersea Power.
And you know what, just as I was saying in the third quarter of the game that London had cleared up their penalties issues, actually they've come back in the last quarter and they've started to struggle. They have Diarrhea and Swift both sitting on 6 penalties at the moment.
Yep. And in that last 3 minutes, when everybody's tired, it makes it difficult to put them on the track if they're sat on 6. But it's Norfolk firmly in control of this jam. Penny Slane about to complete her 2nd scoring pass. That's 5 full points.
Norfolk lose a blocker to the box. Pack advantage now sitting with London.
Yeah. Swung round the other way. It's 2-4 to Norfolk.
Savage gets out on the initial pass. You'll see now approaching the back for a scoring pass, but Norfolk shut that down. They have not given away a single point.
Nope. 10 points in that last jam, taking them to 210. And 1 minute 25 left in this game.
That has gone.
I have
incredibly
really
quickly.
enjoyed watching this game.
It has, because actually it's not been as simple as just Norfolk storming through.
No.
They might have been ahead, but London playing that accordion scoring that was being talked about earlier, where they got closer and then it's just been edging away from them again. But no pass, no penalty. However, 2-1-2's still recycling herself. Danger Moose still went back.
It was the 2nd hit out.
It was the second hit that caused it.
Yeah, and that was number 41. Demolition, very smart tactics.
So at the front of the pack, you can see Rudy Roo is pushing hard. In comes some offense from London to try and create the space she needs, but Norfolk just reforming around on turn 2. We've seen 40 seconds pass with no lead given yet.
And we're almost a complete lap of the track as well. And it just shows how hard the jammers are having to push and the fluidity of the walls and the blocking.
And there it is, it's finally awarded. Rudy Roo picking up very deservedly lead. At the back though, London not giving Danger Moose an inch. And what we have seen, leads being lost. Rudy Roo is off to the penalty box for a back block.
And that's given Penny Slane the motivation to get out of the pack on her initial pass.
And that's Rudy Roo's 6th penalty as well.
Oof.
So Danger Moose back on form, but is knocked to the inside. Big recycle from London.
And I think the penalties and the size of these recycles shows that Battersea are giving it everything that they've got. And that's what's making this such an exciting game to watch.
Rudy Roo now back in play. Will be scoring up, but the period clock has expired. The jam reaches its natural conclusion.
And
you
look
can
at the
see
faces of Norfolk.
They are absolutely ecstatic. I don't think they can quite believe their luck. They played phenomenally.
And because of the history of our sport, playing London Roller Girls is, you know, it's a big deal.
It's a huge deal for UK Derby.
Yeah.
There is still that feeling of history steeped with London Roller Girls. But as the rolling whistle is blown, it has nailed and confirmed that our final at 4:30 tomorrow afternoon, we're going to see Rebellion take on Norfolk.
For the shiny trophy.
Both teams guarantee the promotion to Division 1.
Yep.
However, who is going to take home the shiny trophy? That game, of course, broadcast not just here on British Champs TV, but also on BBC Sport.
I've been Dort Mistress. And actually, yes, we get...
I've been Brom. I'm still Brom.
Yes,
I've been
we're
Brom the
still
whole
here.
time.
We're still here. And so, yeah, I mean, it just shows that I think how good the games tomorrow are going to be. So Rebellion were very clearly the winners of their game against Windsor. So if you look at the strengths of Rebellion and Norfolk, they're going to be probably similar. It's going to be a cracker of a game. And Windsor will be playing Battersea Power at 11:30 tomorrow morning on the roller Derby City track for that third-fourth playoff. Coming third in in the whole of Tier 2 is still something that both teams are going to want. And so they're going to be fighting hard. And I think, again, we're going to see very even matchups that's going to be.
Yeah, and actually what we're going to see is, and then also North Wales Dorset game that just finished on a just one body track. We saw North Wales take the win, so Kent are going to rematch against Dorset in game 11 at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So we're seeing a couple of rematches, but we're seeing some matchups that we haven't seen before as well. Official score now 89 points for Battersea, London Roller Girls Battersea Power versus 214 for the Norfolk Broad.
And before we go into the final interviews for today, just a reminder, the first game's tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. on the just one body track. We're going to have Hull versus Nottingham, and 9:30 is Cambridge versus Wiltshire on the roller Derby City track. Both those games are semi-final for Tier 3.
Yep, and then the winners of each of those games will go on to play the final at 3 o'clock for the Tier 3 WFTDA side game. Wow, and after that will really just, those last two games tomorrow morning will then fill out the rest of the bracket, and it will be sailing on through to the end of the British Champ season.
I'm not ready for it to be over.
It's been a game with 210 in it.
Yeah.
A massive thank you for joining us here with us in Stoke today. Thank you to the lovely Very Cherry for producing us.
Thank you to the lovely Brom for being my partner in crime.
And to Dork Mistress. And we're going to hand you over now to the Roller Polar Bear and Hips, who is going to see us out for the day with an interview with North Wales and Mother Mercy from the Dorset North.